Fertility management, let's talk about it. So right now we're very busy at Vitalize. We're doing a ton of our soil consulting programs, as well as high-level overviews of soil tests that come through from those who have bought soil tests from us. And one of the things that always stuck with me, I have a good friend at Ward Laboratories. I got to interview him. It's on our YouTube channel, Dr. Patrick Fries, brilliant soil chemist. And one of the things he said to me during that podcast, and it always stuck with me, was, you know, we as humans don't eat all of our food for a year in one sitting. So why do we expect plants to? And the reason I thought that was interesting is because, of course, there are some nuanced situations. Somebody has a really heavy soil, high CEC, they can hold a ton of nutrients, naturally high organic matter, dating back to glacial periods and things like that. But for a lot of the whitetail world or lawn care world or garden world, there's a lot of variability in soils. And that means there's going to be a lot of variability in how nutrients move through those soils, be it organic or in ionic form or whatnot. So I want to highlight this because I think it's really important that if you get a soil test back and it says you need 80 units of N and 120 units of P and 80 units of K or 60 units of K, most people just simply go buy triple 13 or 624-24 and they go put it down. And then that's it, and then, well, that was for the spring crop. What about the fall crop, right? So what I like to tell people is, if you have the time and the ability, try to work with somebody who, one, is going to help you to, hey, are you tillage or you no-till, right? Kind of understanding that CEC, how nutrients are going to move through the soil and whatnot. But even if you don't have that, in many situations, it's always going to be beneficial. Let's take a lawn care situation. You're growing fescue. It tells you need 80 units of N. Well, that's a formula that generates that, right? Based on how much nitrate is in the soil. And then they take ppm to convert it to pounds per acre. And then they tell you, here's what you need to hit the maximum yield of fescue based on a bunch of tissue tests and things like that have then been done over the years. And what those numbers would tell you, right? So 1 + 1 = 2. Here's what you need. What it doesn't really account for is organic matter mineralization. And it also doesn't account for, like, well, if I put all 80 units down now, is that incrementally better than if I spread them out? Most of the time, I would say no. And the reason is because you're going to lose some of that nitrogen, in this case, to volatilization or erosion, right? So some's going to run off, or leaching, I should say, versus erosion. So some's going to leach out and some's going to go back into the air. So what could you do with those 80 units of N? Well, what if you put down those 80 units of N in 4 different applications, especially if you have the availability to time it before a rain, or in a lawn care setting, if you can time it before irrigation goes off, say the next morning? You're going to see much better utilization of those nutrients, and you're going to see less osmotic stress if it's a salt-based fertilizer, because you're not putting down this huge load at one time. So my biggest tip for people as you get into this food plot farming,